presenters today are Brendan Cawley and Maurice Deegan, and that's in association with Leinster GAA, very kindly nominated both of you to support us out here. So we're just going to go through the new rules as such, the enhancements that we call them, and very much open to questions on that. So you should be able to pop your hand up or unmute yourself to ask a question. If you have any issues, just pop it in the chat either way, but I'll pass it over to you if that's okay.
So my name is Maurice Deegan. I'm obviously ex-intercounty referee. I'm part of this famous FRC committee for these new rules, and I look forward to giving you this briefing. And if you have any questions, as Teresa said, ask away. Brendan?
Yeah, Brendan Cawley, intercounty referee, and as Maurice has alluded to, he's part of the committee creating and amending the rules. I'm just implementing them. So we're delighted to be with you this morning to, I suppose, walk through our, I suppose, presentation on the new rules. And definitely, as Teresa has identified, stop us at any stage along the way. If you want to dig into something, just ask the question and we'll answer it as we go.
So basically, obviously, with the new enhancements, people hate to change. So two things that people hate to change and the way things are. So we're just going to go into obviously the throw-in, kick-outs, goalkeeper, 4v3, kick-out mark, advance mark scores, delay fouling, soul and go, additional black cards, sideline cards, dissent, dealing with injuries, signals, referee signals, and the stop clock. And if there's any questions, ask along the way. So obviously the first thing you go
there. So the most straightforward of them all is the throw-in. So you will have one player from either team in the middle of the field contesting the throw-in, with, if it is two midfielders, normally one on either sideline, because I do understand you obviously play 13 and 11 aside in different jurisdictions or whatever the case may be. So it's 1v1, and how that works is the referee tosses the coin with the captains. Whoever wins the toss decides which way to play, so which way to shoot. Whoever loses the toss then gets the decision which side they want their player to be on the sideline for the first half, and then that changes at half time. So obviously, if the referee is throwing in the ball in one direction, it may be more beneficial for a team to start behind the referee's back, because their midfielder can run towards the referee and maybe punch the ball towards their own player. So that's kind of the concept behind that. And then all other players outside the 45 in their respective positions, they swap at half time. Referee throws in the ball on the same side for both halves, and that's repeated if required at extra time. So that's basically the throw-in. If there's any questions, straightforward enough. They get a little bit more tricky.
What to do?
More kickouts.
So now we'll just chat about the kickouts and just basically, obviously, the structure around that. Obviously, all players must be 13 metres away from the ball, but are allowed inside 20-metre line. So basically, I'm going to break this down for as if we were refereeing the match. So from the kick-out, all players must be outside of, we'll say, the small arc, or have to be 13 metres away. All right. When the ball is kicked out, we'll say forward past the 20-metre line, the ball must travel outside of the arc from the kick-out. If it is touched inside the arc by a defender, it's a free from where the foul occurs. The proviso from that is if an attacker gets the ball travels outside of the small arc, we'll say, and before it goes outside the big arc, it's play on, because this is the anomaly in the rule that the benefit is really for the attacking player. So basically, what I would be telling you, if you're coaches as well as referees, is to be telling your keeper to drive the ball outside of the 40-metre arc. Obviously, from the kick-out also, players can stand now inside the 20-metre line, but they must be 13 metres away from the ball. And also, just another proviso on that is that if there is an issue from time wasting from the kick-out, it is not, the hot ball is now finished. It is now a free kick in front of the scoring space against the keeper. All right. So the hot ball is now gone. It is now a free kick. And also, if you interfere now with a goalkeeper taking a kick out, which has happened, which happens fairly regularly, although it doesn't anymore with this deal, 50-meter advancement. It is now 50-meter advancement on the kick out. There's a lot there now, so we're expecting questions on this one. Has anyone any questions on that, or have I explained that fairly to the letter of the law?
And just while we're waiting, if there is any questions, just with regards to time wasting, there may have been some, anecdotal conversation around time wasting during the league, and it was kind of a 20-second guide. That's gone now, so that's at the discretion of the referee. So if you feel that a goalkeeper is time wasting or not, taking his opportunity to take the kick out, then it's a free against him. Yeah, I just seen initials BS, so if you want to jump in there.
Hi, that's it. Sound. Just on the kick, I will say if an attacker touches the ball but doesn't catch it, is it just play on? Then we'll say if the goalkeeper kicks it 15 meters and it's touched by an attacker, the defender can just pick it on and play on.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Fair enough.
So once the ball travels to 13, and the forward touches the ball, as you were saying, inside of the large arc, that's when the defender then comes into play. He can actually touch it then without any foul occurring. Okay. What we'll do anyway is we'll forward on this presentation anyway to Teresa, and then Teresa then she can distribute it then to everybody that's on this call. Yeah, and Teresa already has the PDF of it.
Yeah, I'm recording the webinar as well, so I can share that as well.
Great, thank you. Great. So, Ronan had a question there. Yeah, so the 20 seconds was kind of a rule of thumb, guidance from the FRC that proved to be kind of unrefereeable, and the evidence from the Game Intelligence Unit through the FRC suggests that referees were, I suppose, able to manage kickouts themselves, and the kickouts were getting away in around 20 seconds anyway. So that is now gone, yes, and it is back in the hands of the referee. So it is up to the referee to decide if a goalkeeper is delaying or not. And similarly, sorry, we've the Irish weather here. We changed the weather the last week. I have a little bit of a cold and a cough. With that, remember, it is a big penalty to give a free against the goalkeeper for a delay, because it is now a free against him, which is nearly a guaranteed 1-point score. Any other questions? Happy enough on that. Okay, I'll go through the goalkeeper now. So with regards to the goalkeeper, where the goalkeeper can play the ball, every team must have a goalkeeper now. So you must identify your goalkeeper clearly, because they have different privileges now compared to everybody else. So the goalkeeper can only receive the ball from a teammate in open play. Both the goalkeeper and the outfield player are inside the large rectangle, and the ball must be played in by the opposition. So the ball can't be carried in by the full back and then hand pass to the goalkeeper. It must be played in by the opposition into the large square, either played by the goalkeeper there or played by the full back to the goalkeeper, whatever the case may be. The goalkeeper can play it then in the opposition half of the field, so that's fine once he's crossed halfway. However, there's obviously the caveat to that now. We'll talk about that in the 4v3 or the 2v1, as might be relevant to you guys, with regards to the only having 11 players in that half of the field. If the goalkeeper touches the ball anywhere in his own half of the field that is played to him by a teammate, it is a free kick from where the goalkeeper receives the pass. And if he's inside the 13-meter line, it's a free kick on the 13-meter line outside where he took that pass. Okay. If the goalkeeper is in the opposition half of the field, he can receive the ball, carry it back into his own half. There's no problem. He can intercept any pass or any kick from the opposition in his own half. So even if it's an opposition kick out, the goalkeeper can come out to the 45-meter line and contest that kick out. No problem. Obviously, as I said already, a teammate cannot pass the ball back into the large rectangle, but the ball could potentially be touched incidentally in flight back into the large rectangle. So, for example, a full forward and a full back out on the 20-meter line, contesting for a ball. If there's incidental contact off the full back and it goes back into the large square, that's fair game. but the fullback couldn't be out there on his own, we'll say, and intentionally maybe fist that ball back towards the goalkeeper. So I just need to open up this chat because I see something coming in there. It's just a little bit big for me. So stand by. Would the goalkeeper illegally receiving a pass in this circumstance be classed as a technical foul? Yeah, that would be classed as a technical foul. Yeah, so it's a free from where that foul occurred.
Yeah. So just going back over Brendan's few points. If he, for instance, just think of it this way, the goalkeeper can only receive the ball one, obviously if he saves in his own half of the field, one, if he saves a shot, two, if the ball comes in as kicked in and there's 3 or 4 players in the box and the ball breaks off the 3 or 4 players, the goalkeeper can collect it. 4, if the ball comes in, same scenario, 3 or 4 players in the box, then he can hand pass. If the cornerback gets it or the fullback, he can hand pass the ball to him. Or if he intercepts a shot, they're basically the criteria for the only time the keeper can receive the ball inside his own half of the field.
Okay, so we have 2 questions there.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good question with regards to the potential penalty. Yeah, so you are correct. A technical foul in the small rectangle is a penalty. However, in this scenario, it is not a penalty.
No.
So the pass back to the goalkeeper in rule, where he touches it, it is only a free. And if it's inside the 13-metre line, whether it's inside the small square or not, it is a free only. So it's a very fair point, but it is a free only. Can a player not play the ball into their own large rectangle at all? No. Or not just pass the goalkeeper? No. So again, ball comes in and the cornerback wins it out, halfway towards the sideline. They cannot pass it back to the goalkeeper in the large rectangle, and they cannot carry the ball back into the large rectangle to pass to the goalkeeper. The ball must end up in the large rectangle by an opposition player. It cannot be taken out for a 2-point free. Again, another great question. The only time we will go through the scenarios for 2-point frees, but it is only if the free was given outside the 2-point arc and carried inside the 2-point arc, which we will talk about in a while, that you can bring it back out. So no, it cannot be taken back out for a 2-point free. It is a free where the foul occurred, or if inside the 13-metre line, you bring it back out to the 13-metre line. There's a good bit to this now, and Maurice and I have been at this since December, really, with clubs and counties and referees and whatever else. So the questions are really good. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
Happy enough so with the goalkeeper where he can play the ball, and certainly we're happy to come back to it if anyone has any questions later on. I'm obviously running 2 laptops here, so I'll just be jumping up and down to manage that. Do you want to go through the 4v3?
Yeah, so the 4v3, so I'm not going to get into the issues of the 3v3 and why we changed it all and all that type of thing. So I'm just going to talk about the current situation as regards to 4v3. So obviously this was brought in obviously to stop the goalie from coming up the field, or to nullify the goalie from coming up field, which we feel we have done. So basically what happens is each team during play must have 4 players, which may include a goalkeeper. Doesn't have to be the goalkeeper, can be one of the other players as well, in their defensive half of the field, and 3 players in their attacking half at all times. Okay? If a team is reduced in numbers, if we'll say a team goes down to 14 players or 13 players, you still must have 4 players in the defensive area and 3 players in the attacking area. Now, as regards a breach of this, of the halfway line with the 4v3, now, a breach of this rule does not occur, obviously, when we say does not occur, where players have done so unintentionally, are within the 4 metres of the halfway line, are not interfering with play, are not interfering with an opponent, are not gaining an advantage. So if a player will say, for argument's sake, steps over the line, a metre or 2 over the line, we'll say by accident, we'll say, you don't give the free, you just play on, okay? So that's why we're taking that away, because we felt as an FRC, and in fairness, we've been talking to the referees on this as well, that these breaches, if a player accidentally goes over the halfway line by a metre or two, but then steps back in and realises he's gone over, what we're saying there, and the reason why we brought it in was we felt that bringing the ball forward to the 20-metre line and bringing it back out for it's too big a penalty on players that were actually trying to play the game properly.
Yeah,
I think on your end.
No, just a couple of things to add there. Teresa sent us on some draft, I suppose, rule amendments for your own codes.
I'm gonna ask question.
And if it's less than 13 aside, so I think it's 13 aside and 11 aside and whatever else, you're going to play a 2v1. So that'll be one defender and one attacker, plus obviously the goalkeeper. So a team will have to keep that 2v1. So when we refer to 4v3, you'll be able to adapt this for yourselves. I suppose from a referee point of view, I know it's going to be challenging if you're on your own refereeing to try and manage the 4v3. It's probably the most difficult, most challenging rule to implement on your own, but it's like anything. If you don't see it, you can't enforce it. So I've refereed a lot of club matches in Kildare on my own, club league games. So it's very much like it used to be. You referee what's in front of you, play going down one end of the field, working away on that. If you catch someone, it's a fairly severe penalty. Teams are actually really good at self-regulating. I didn't believe it when the FRC were kind of had division, but genuinely they're getting good at self-regulating. If you turn and see it, obviously, and you call it, it's a severe penalty for them because it's a guaranteed 1 point, possible 2 point score. And then it's the case of, like anything, if you're on your own and someone strikes behind your back and you don't you can't catch it. So the next question there is a good question for a breach of the 4v3. So I'll just go down through that. So as identified, we must have 4 and 3 or 2 and 1. If one of those players requires it to stay up, crosses the halfway line in a genuine attempt to gather the ball. So say, for example, the centre back is one of the players, 4 players back, and a ball is kicked out, we'll say, from the opposition kick out, and the centre back goes running for that ball in flight, or has the ball in possession and carries it across halfway, it is a free on halfway only. However, the majority of these breaches are the ones where the player drifts across, and again, more than the 4 metres, as Maurice has alluded to. And for any of those, it's a free on the 20-metre line, or because you've brought it inside the arc, they have the option to bring it back outside the 2 point arc. So, Ronan, hope that makes sense, and for everybody else as well. So that's kind of a very quick overview of the 4v3 or 2v1. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to unmute or ask them in the chat.
So what we're just recommending, especially to club referees, going back to Brendan's point, is that what we're recommending to referees at club list, where you wouldn't have the support of linesmen and maybe even umpires, is that you referee what's in front of you. Okay, you're not turning around all the time to see have lads broken the halfway line, because it's going to be impossible.
Yeah.
You just won't be able to do it. So what we're saying is referee what's in front of you. If it's glaringly obvious that there's a breach on the halfway line, well then obviously you blow the foul, whether it be a foul on the halfway line or it's a foul inside the 20-metre line. Are we happy with that? Emmy?
Yeah. Someone has a hand up.
Yeah, just briefly, lads, thanks for the explanation. I referee in Europe, so I've already had a couple of opportunities to implement these rules. I've done it before. We had these A to E, and I've done it after. And I have to say, it makes life so much easier from a referee perspective, because in the first tournament that I refereed, we had lads unknowingly breaking it by a couple of metres, not involved at all. And sure, Jesus, you have to go to the other end of the pitch then. And you're like, oh, for feck's sake, I'm sorry, lads, but this is the rules. But the last tournament, I was able to, as play was moving up the pitch, you notice the third fella is coming up. And I'll just hold up there. Just he's gone already 2 or 3 or 4 maybe metres over. Nothing to do with the play. But I've been able to then tell him, listen, go back there, go back. And as you said then, that the teams are self-regulating. I think this amount of flexibility, it also pays dividends with the respect that the teams give the referee. If they see you not blowing it for a blatant, 4 meters over, they have more respect for you then as well. I think it pays dividends in that regard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure,
a
very
fair
fair.
point, yeah. If you're happy with that, we'll move on if that's okay. So we're on the mark.
Yep.
So just on the kick out mark, so obviously the same rules here apply. Kick out was taken from the 20-meter line. Player catches the ball on the middle of the field. He either one raises his hand to take the free kick, or two, he'll play on. If he decides to play on, he cannot be tackled within the 4 meters. If he is tackled within the 4 meters, which we're seeing a lot of, there's a 50-meter advance up to the 30-meter line, and obviously with the option to bring it back out. If, for argument's sake, there's a delay in taking the mark, it's going to be a hot ball. And just bear in mind here now, just on the kick-out marks, the kick-out mark now is also, if the player catches the ball around the middle of the field, takes the mark, puts the hand up in the air, if he kicks it inside, the advanced mark is now also in play. So he can get the advanced mark from the midfield mark, which was never the case before. Okay, so I'll just go back to the kick-out mark. We actually spoke about this last night with the referees, just on the kick-out mark. If you want to just go through what we were talking about, just the incidental contact and the players charging, looking for the free rather than anything else. Just to be careful on this.
So I suppose on the kick-out mark, when a midfielder or whoever else catches the ball cleanly, they obviously have two options then. The referee will blow the whistle, and then they have two options. They can either put their hand up to take the free, or they can play on immediately. Now, if they play on immediately, they have 4 meters in which they cannot be tackled.
Yeah.
So that is a change over the last maybe month or 6 weeks to the rule. So within those 4 meters, a player can't be tackled. If he is tackled, it's a 50-meter advance. Now, what we have to be cautious here of is that the catching player isn't trying to charge at the opposition player to gain that foul or gain that advance. So it's only if that opposition player actively goes into tackle is that going to be a 50-meter advance. So hopefully that makes sense.
And just going back, on that, and what Brendan was saying was, we came to the consensus last night that if that happens, it's
it's a free against that player.
Correct.
Because they're trying to
charge.
They're charge or feign a foul, one or the other.
Okay, that's fairly simple. But just going back to Brendan's remark again, was that used to be 4 steps in 4 seconds. But the thing that we're noticing, especially from an FRC point of view, is that the referees are actually enforcing it a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's been enforced. So the rule was always there. It's just we've probably tidied it up, and we brought in the 4 meters to come in line with all of the rest of the infringements that's happening throughout the game.
Mm-hmm. And then just to add on to the advanced mark, then, if the ball is kicked from outside the 45-meter line, it now has to be caught inside the 20-meter line for an advanced mark. So there is a reduction in the number of advanced marks. So again, the player has 2 options. Now, realistically, if they decide to play on immediately, the referee will now give this player advantage. So he can be tackled immediately, but there's unlimited time on that player to get a score. And if there's no score accrues by the team, then they're guaranteed they're free. So realistically, I don't see the value in an attacking player stopping to put up their hand to take a free anymore, because they're guaranteed that free. So if they do play on, again, they have unlimited advantage until the team gets a score. If the player takes a shot and it goes wide, they get the free. If he hand passes it off and someone else takes a shot and the goalkeeper saves it, they still go back for the free, etc., etc. Now, if that player who takes the mark, if the defender turns the ball over fairly, it is a free. They go back for the mark.
Yeah.
The advanced mark, the team is guaranteed a free. So absolutely fair, Christopher. Play goes on. A perfect tackle that would be legal in all other aspects of play. The advanced mark catcher still gets his free. If the advanced mark catcher plays on and takes 6 steps, you go back to give him the free, any technical foul. If the catcher makes an aggressive foul, you know, like a high elbow in contact or whatever, it is a free against that player. So that's the only time they wouldn't get that free. Now, what is important here is that this is the same rule for the defensive player as well. So if the full back catches it, the full back gets the exact same two options. Hand up to take the free or play immediately with advantage. Now, you wouldn't give them, obviously, the advantage to get to score. You would allow them advantage until they get out of dodge. That's kind of it. If anyone else has any questions on the 2 marks, please ask.
What we've noticed here on the advanced mark is that they're very few and far between. So there's probably 1, maybe 2, if even, in a game anymore. But what is good about the advanced mark is that it's now defined. It's now the ball has to be kicked from outside of the 45-metre line and caught inside of the 20-metre line.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was 20 metres.
Yeah.
So it was really at the discretion of the referee. Whereas now it's very defined. Now the important part, what Brendan was talking about as well, is that at all times when there's an advanced mark caught inside the 20-metre line, that the keeper, or the keeper's side, the referee keeps his hand up for the advantage, because the advantage can go on for 5-10 seconds. It's at the discretion of the referee. So it's up to ye. We can't tell ye how long you need to keep the advantage going for. That's really your call, more or less.
Yep. I suppose, you know, if the team were starting to slow down and work it back out towards the sideline or whatever, you might just stop it then and give them the free, because you don't want to be going around for, you know, 15-20 seconds with your hand up playing disadvantage that you have to go back to. So you'll judge that accordingly. Yeah, absolutely. A penalty can be given. So if a full forward catches the ball, he's on advantage and then he's dragged to the ground or whatever, it is absolutely the more advantageous foul. So the penalty plus the black card or whatever card it may be. Yeah, absolutely, John.
And even if the foul is outside, if it's outside the large rectangle, if he catches the ball over near the sideline and he's running across in front of the goal and he's fouled between, we'll say, the large rectangle and the sideline, obviously the more advantageous free is going to be where he's fouled the second time.
Yeah.
And then at that stage, anyone can take the free or anyone can take the penalty. But if you're bringing back the advanced mark, it's the player that caught the ball from the advanced mark must take the free. Okay?
Yep.
Brilliant.
I'm happy. Okay, so we just go through the new scoring system now. Obviously, you're familiar with the pitch markings and the new 40-metre arc and what that entails. So a goal is 3 points, as it has always been. Now, for a point that is scored on or outside the new 40-metre arc, it is now 2 points. So how that is signalled, the referee raises 2 arms in the air, similar to an NFL touchdown, and the umpire will raise an orange flag, or whoever's at the post might wave an orange flag. The kicker must have 1 foot on or outside the arc. It must go straight over the bar, so it cannot be touched by any other player. If it is kicked and a defending player or an attacking player get a touch, or the goalkeeper gets a touch above the crossbar, that is only 1 point. Okay. Now it can hit the post, it can hit the crossbar, it can bounce over. That is still 2 points. No problem with that. Anything scored from inside the 40-metre arc is 1 point. If there's a 45 and it is scored, it is only 1 point. And both of them are signalled by the referee raising one hand in the air, or obviously a white flag as before. So any questions on the score or the 2 point shot? We're going to talk about the 2 point shots and the 2 point frees and where they're from now in a couple of minutes with dissent and that. But just regards to general scoring system, are we all okay? Okay, seems happy enough there. So we can come back to it if we need to. Just with regards to score taking, something I wanted to identify, I suppose, a vision early days was that you might split it up into goals, 2 pointers and 1 pointers. But what has kind of evolved, especially with, you know, scoreboards and reports being the old money, we'll say 1-7 to 2-9 in this case, you can see that I would identify a double score by circling it. Some people underline it, draw a box around it, whatever. But it is important to ensure that you keep track of those double scores. And on the right hand side there, that's how I would do that.
So just I was doing a league match on Tuesday night. Was it Tuesday night? Tonight I can't even keep up with
Yes,
the
it's
days. Tuesday night, and the reporter that was at the match came up to me to ask me what was the score, because he couldn't keep up with the score because one of the teams had kicked 5 2-pointers. So he was all over the place with the scores. But I had marked the way Brendan has it there on Team B. So I would underline it to be able to tell me whether or not they kicked the 2-pointer. So I was able to tell him that they kicked 5 2-pointers and the score was 12 points or 13 points to 1-5 or whatever. But look, it's up to you as to what way you feel comfortable as regards keeping an eye on the score in your scorecards. All right.
Okay, delay fouls. So, with regards to delay fouls, now I have an asterisk here because I know, and I'm going to go on to this in a second. I think I have I do. I have your slide there. Your delay fouls might change a little bit. But for example, if it is a 50-meter advance up to the 13-meter line for the following. So, if a player, overcarries the ball or whatever, and doesn't release it, if they kick it away, throw it away, if they don't move back quickly enough to allow a solo and goal, we'll talk about solo and goal in a little while. For any verbal or physical attempts to distract the free taker, they're not 13 meters away from a free kick, or they do not hand the ball to the nearest opposition player. So that's a key one. So, if I take 6 steps and Maurice blows the free against me, if I have the ball in my possession, I, in rule now, must hand that ball to the nearest opposition player. If I don't, it is a 50-meter penalty. So when we talk about it, say, for example, these penalties the foul is out around the middle of the field. You decide to advance it up to the 13-meter line. In blue at the bottom, any ball that advances, that crosses into the 40-meter arc, can then be brought back out for a 2-point shot. Okay? So what that means is, if again the player's fouled at midfield, you would bring it forward into the 20-meter line or 13-meter line, whatever the case may be. The team can have a couple of different options. They can take the free from the original spot at midfield, or they can take a solo and goal really quickly from the original spot at midfield, or they can take the free from the more advantageous place on the 13-meter line or wherever that 50 meters has got to, or if it has been carried inside the 40-meter arc, they can choose to bring it back out to 40-meter arc, beside the 40-meter arc for a 2-point shot. Now, just a couple of things here I want to identify, and Teresa will be able to share this with you when it is clarified. But for example, if it's 13 aside, it is a full 50-meter penalty. If it's 11 aside, it's a 30-meter penalty on those 3 infractions. If it's 9 aside, it's a 20-meter penalty, or 7 aside, it's a 20-meter penalty. Now, a couple of questions.
That one from Paul is an interesting one.
Right. So, is there a time frame for a player to move away? Seeing instances where the player taking a quick free blatantly kicks it to the opposition. Yeah, okay. So, I suppose with regards to that one, if a player is actively trying to move away, you would give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. If they're standing around slowing it down, well, then I would be happy to penalise them. But I also would not be accepting the player kicking a ball directly at a player. It's like Maurice talked about earlier with the charge.
Yes, correct. So just going back on the solo and goal, and the main reasons why we brought this in, and going back to Brendan's point on the players moving away. So basically, in this instance, when the player is taking the solo and goal, but then he delays taking the solo and goal, and we'll say, for argument's sake, the players have gone back the 13. They've gone back to 13, and then all of a sudden now he decides to do the solo and goal. Well, now it's a free against, because it's like you're double penalising the team. You're telling the players to go back 30 metres, and now you're also taking the solo and goal. So basically, going back to Brendan's point, you have just to give the players, if the players are genuinely going back and they're back 5, 6, 7 metres, and he takes the solo and goal, fine, no issues. So I can't tell you the amount of time it's going to take for the player to go back, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. It's the amount of length, we'll say, the players are gone away from the solo and goal. That's probably a better way of putting it.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll dig into that a bit more in the solo and go, and similarly with the free, as long as the player is actively trying to get out of there, I'd give them the benefit of the doubt. John, with regards to the hand back, it is the nearest player. So if you were caught in contact or whatever, a free is blown against you, you must actively hand it back to the nearest player. Now it's pedantic, I accept that, but that's the rule, and there's a 50-metre penalty. And then with regards to the other ones there, it drops down, we'll call it a tactical foul. For the 50-metre advancements, they come down to 30-20-10 as per your own guidelines. You can figure them out accordingly whenever Teresa gets a clarification on them.
So just on the team captain, this is obviously where the team captain or nominated deputy can only ask questions of the referee for what the referee has blown the foul for. Now, the penalty for this is obviously a free kick from, now we actually said this to the referees last night, that we did see instances where players are starting to get a little bit more jippy with the referees, and to be honest, some of the referees aren't dealing with it. So we've asked them to go back and start dealing with this, that if players are not, we'll say, accepting the referee's decision, well then unless it's the captain is the only man that can talk to the referee. But the penalty is a free kick from the place 50 metres more advantageous from where the foul occurs or where the referee was questioned, and also up to the 30-metre line, with the option of bringing it back out to the 20-metre line. But what we're telling the referees to do to prevent this from happening is, and the real good referees are doing it, most of the referees are doing it, that if the referee blows for a free, that the referee actually explains. He just says, pull at his jersey. Everyone knows what it is, and you move on. No one then is coming up and questioning the referee. And that makes it both easier on the player and especially on the referee, because you're actually preventing any of this, we'll say, infringements or the sand fouls that goes on. Okay with that? So I would be saying to you, tell the players what the free is for before they actually ask what the free is for. Yeah. That way then you're preventative. It's like preventative rather than it being aggressive, as what can happen with players.
Yeah, and I suppose this probably fits into your own potential new rule changes would be the challenging the referee. Yeah. Again, it's just your 30-20-10 as you go down through your 11 side. But look, that will become more apparent. Okay, so in
that's a good card. That's very good.
We've stipulated in the regulations that the captain must wear an armband. Very fair, yeah. Otherwise, they may not ask for clarification. That's actually very, very clear. Brought in this over one day, a referee may have 10 games. Yeah, you're never going to know the captain's absolutely very fair. Like it's grand for me at a senior intercounty game. I'm going to know who the captain of, Donegal and Derry is, or whatever the case may be. Maybe other international units could take this. Yeah, a very, very fair point. Good observation. That means there's no questions then from the others. As long as you're explaining it, you should be asking it. So can the captain point out a player getting roughed up consistently? No, that's not a question. So I suppose the captain or the nominated deputy at a break in play can speak to the referee to seek clarification on a decision made by the referee. So, Maurice, do you mind me asking you why you gave a black card to our player there and they didn't get it? Something polite like that, asking for clarification on your decision at a break in play. Now, I suppose it's not a question identifying that someone's getting roughed up, for example. And if that captain was, bear with me now, could get the referee get stick for being badgered by the captain and book him or punish him for dissent. So look, I suppose that's a tolerance piece again. And if a captain was being genuine, identifying, look at Brendan, we feel that, X-player is just getting a little bit of, would you mind trying to keep an eye on it? If he was polite and courteous about that, I'd be like, listen, Maurice, Maurice is probably never a captain, but listen, that's absolutely no problem. I'll keep an eye on that. But, there's no need to identify me again. If I catch it, I catch it. If I don't, I don't. But realistically, that's up to the referee's tolerance levels. If he's allowing engagement or not from the captain. Now, if it was one player, as in the captain, with an armband or nominated or whatever the case may be, and they were being courteous, maybe there might be tolerance. But other than that, it should only be straightforward questions on a matter of a decision at a break in play. So hopefully, Brian, that makes sense. And I suppose at kind of club level and kind of the competition levels you're playing at, this will be really, really beneficial for referees to eradicate that dissent or that constant engagement or questioning or trying to, I suppose, influence referees.
I do think on the where in Europe where they've stipulated that the captain must wear the armband is an excellent idea. That's a brilliant idea because then that cuts out then.
It's very clear.
Well, it is. That's very, very clear as regards who's going to be asking the questions. That's an excellent idea.
Okay, keep them great questions coming. So with regards to the solo and goal, Maurice touched on this a couple of minutes ago. We'll dig into it a little bit here. Team awarded a free. They can opt to take a solo and goal. Now, the solo and goal can be taken it must be taken immediately. If it is not immediate, so if you feel it is delayed by a couple of seconds, we will just ask the team to stop and take their free. However, as Maurice has identified, if they really delay it and the opposition team go back and to 13 metres as if the team were going to take a free, and then they try to solo and go, that is a free against that team. If a team is taking a solo and go, they can't charge with the ball to try and gain a 50-metre advantage. It cannot be taken inside the opposition 20-metre line. If the solo and go is bounced, or if the solo is not complete or fumbled, you just make them take their free. Obviously, it must be taken within 4 metres of the original spot. So if Maurice is fouled, he has a 4-metre radius where he can take the solo and go, or he can throw it to me as a teammate. And as long as I'm within 4 metres, I can take the solo and go. Now, I can't be challenged within 4 metres of that solo and go. So again, the team fouled has 4 metres within where they can take the solo and go. And then when they take the solo, they have another 4 metres in which they cannot be tackled. If they are tackled anywhere within those, it is a 50-metre advanced, again, up to the 13-metre line. Now, and the last point before we, I suppose, let Maurice dig into another couple of things where you ask questions, it cannot be taken backwards. So if I'm heading this direction towards you guys, I must take the solo and go in kind of that 180-degree kind of radius. Solo and go forward with it. I can kind of go sideways, but definitely not backwards. All right.
Okay. So a couple of things that just to expand on Brendan's point. The goalkeeper can do the solo and go.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's another time. So obviously, going back, I think I've seen someone actually answer that. But just remember that the goalkeeper can do the solo and go in his own half of the field. And just on the last point there, where it can't be taken backwards, once the solo is done, he can go backwards then. All right. So he's going forward or sideways initially. When he solos the ball, then he can go backwards if he wants, because you've now broken the solo and go. Okay. Now it is very important. Going back to Brendan's first point, cannot charge with the ball. We're actually starting to notice an awful lot of that, especially Kerry. We'll say Kerry played Cork at the weekend. There was a couple of instances in that game. Fermanagh played Down at the weekend. There was a couple of instances in that game as well. So what I can do also is, Teresa, if you send me your number, I can actually WhatsApp a couple of clips to you that you can share then with your group or whatever. Is that okay? And we can go from there. So the keeper can't take a solo and go in the attacking. Oh, he can do it in the attacking half of the field as well. Once the player is fouled beside him, he can do the solo and go anywhere. But it must be, going back to Brendan's point, once it's taken immediately, and immediately being as what he already explained.
Yeah. So John, I suppose the point of that being is the goalkeeper would obviously have to be in the attacking half to take the solo and go, because they can't be back in their goal line, a free in the attacking half. They'll never get up there immediately. So it will be the case where the goalkeeper has gone forward and left 4 behind him. I suppose the main point is that if there's a free in the defence, the goalkeeper can come out to take that free, or if he's close enough to the vicinity of it, he can take the solo and go. That's kind of the origin of that. Yep. So we just quickly go through.
Cards,
So Roland just has another question. Can anyone take the solo and go? Yeah, no, absolutely.
anyone. Yeah.
So again, if Maurice is fouled, and I'm his teammate, he can throw it to me and I can solo and go. No problem. As long as I'm within the 4 meters of the foul, anyone can take the solo and go. What would happen?
What would happen before we could explain that a bit better, Matthew, what you're asking there?
So Matthew, do you mean if the goalkeeper comes forward? Yeah. So
if the keeper comes forward, okay.
Someone else has to go back.
Yes.
So if, for example, the 4 players in defence are the goalkeeper plus 3 defenders. If the goalkeeper goes forward into the opposition half, another outfield player must go back into the defence. So when you're playing the 4v3, you must have 4 defensive players, that can include a goalkeeper or not, and 3 attacking players in one half. And then that obviously swaps on either side of the field. So hopefully that makes sense and that makes sense. Now, and again, that will be your 2v1 for your international, the amendments to those World Games.
Do you want to explain about 45? Do you want to get into that? 4v3?
Oh, yeah, no, I can, yeah, for sure. So
just to explain that.
So we had an example there recently where a goalkeeper came up to take 45. So again, let me just go back. I'll just spin back here to the 4v3, okay?
Yeah.
So again, the 4v3, right? So just to give you the graphic, there's the halfway dash line. You must have 4 defensive players. So in blue, 1, 2, 3, and the goalkeeper 4, and 3 attacking players, red, 1, 2, and 3 here, okay? That's the 4v3. If the goalkeeper decides to come forward across the halfway line, one of his buddies has to go back. That's fine. Now, if the goalkeeper with his big boot comes up to take a 45, he can come up to take the 45, but again, another one of his buddies must go back. Now, it is only a breach of your 4v3 or your 2v1 when the ball is kicked. So the goalkeeper can wander up, ball is dead, ball is out of play for 45. He's placing the ball here. It is not a breach until he kicks that ball. So it would be important for maybe the referee to remind him to get a player back for the 4 defensive players or 2 defensive players, whatever that may occur as. All right. Do you want to go through black cards?
Yes. So obviously black cards, they're still the same black cards as always. But the new black cards is what we're going to talk about. Is obviously there's 2 new black cards, we'll say, added to the rule. Obviously, the first one I'm going to talk about is contribute to a melee. So contributing to a melee now has gone from a red card to a black card. So we felt that it's a lot easier on the referee, rather than giving a red card, he can give the black card. So we felt that there's not as much pressure on the referee, and there is a lot of situations where you will have a lot of melees in games. So now what we were saying to the referee is that if the referee is refereeing a game, 2 players go in and they're pushing and shoving, and the 3rd player comes in, black card, okay, because he's contributing to a melee. If another 2 or 3 comes in, black cards as well. It is actually, what we're seeing now is it is actually cutting out the melees at intercounty level, because referees are actually dealing with this side of it. That's the first one. The second one is obviously a wrap tackle, which is you're stopping, we'll say, the player from going on to take a free, where he deliberately or cynically puts the 2 arms around the player to stop him from, we'll say, taking a free or running on to take a pass or something like that. There hasn't been a whole lot of instances of this, but Teresa, what I'll do on this as well is I'll send you a couple of examples on the wrap tackle, because there is 2 or 3 very good ones that we spoke about last night, and we just went through with the national referees last night. Also, the extra black cards, any dissent at the warden of a free for an under 18 player or younger grades is now a black card, and the black card is followed by a temporary substitute for 10 minutes, plus it's a 50-metre advance up to the 30-metre line, and can be brought back outside the arc for the above descent infraction. So you have 3 extra black cards there, 2 in the in the senior, which would be attempting to hold up the opponent, contributing to melee, and obviously in the under 18, any dissent awarding of a free for an under 18 player.
Just with regards to the under 18, that is only the under 18 players playing. Let me just, there's just something happening with TV here. Okay, so that is for players playing under 14, under 16, under 18, not an 18-year-old playing adult competitions. So that black card also with the temporary sub is only specifically for the dissent awarding the free. So you award a free against an under 18 player and they give you dissent. It is a black card plus a temporary sub. If an under 18 player or an under 16 player deliberately pulls down or any of those other black card fouls, they're just getting a straight black card. We've had some instances in Kildare where those deliberate pull down or trips or whatever, we're getting a black card plus a temporary sub. That is incorrect. The temporary sub is only specific to this rule, plus your 50-metre advance. So hopefully that's straightforward on those black cards. John just has a question there going back to the breach. What's the penalty if the player doesn't go back to his own half when the keeper takes the 45? So that's your 4v3 or 2v1 breach. So if that team don't have 4 players in the defence, it is a free on the 20-metre line with the option to bring it back out for a 2-point shot. Sorry, I don't know your first name because I'm just seeing Men's Football Officer Europe. So if you want to post in your name there, I can refer to it. But there's a good point here. Black card additions are excellent and really stamp out cynical fouling where it didn't before. Yeah, absolutely agree, especially that deliberate hold, which we only looked at last night. Contributing to melee is obviously there's a lot more sanctions for that rather than a referee pulling reds. Thank you for that, Connor. Appreciate it. Happy enough on the black cards there, so should be straightforward enough with that. Now this is fantastic. I feel this is a fantastic rule. The sideline dissent. So any of these 5 infractions from an identifiable sideline mentor, manager, coach, whatever the case may be. Any challenge to challenge the authority of the referee or the linesman, umpire, whatever the case may be, or to threaten or to use provocative language or gestures to an opponent or team official. You know, I'll see you after this game and we'll sort this out, etc., etc. Or any one of those 3 red cards. You go and you deal with the manager. You yellow card the manager or red card them. Now I would like to yellow card them and give the 20-metre free with the option to take it outside the 2-point arc. Because if you do yellow card them, then you might get a second chance at it. Because it is a big sanction to have a manager influence a game where you might give a team a free. Manager decides to have a go at you, challenge your authority. You can now yellow card them, give a free into 20-metre line with the option to bring it back out. Now, similarly, as we discussed last night, you can do this when the ball is not in play as well. So, for example, you give a free out the field, fast free is taken, play goes on, a team scores a goal or a point, whatever the case may be. You award that team with, say, the goal. The manager then decides to give you some grief, abusive language, challenge your authority, whatever the case may be. You can card them and then come back and give the free in the 20-metre line or bring it out for a 2-point shot. So you could potentially have a 5-point swing there. But actions and consequences. I'll let Maurice answer Ronan's question.
Does this apply to subs on the sideline? I would love to say yes, but it actually doesn't.
Yeah.
It only applies to anyone. Will say your manager, selectors, physio, doctors. Basically, they're the only people. But it is something, Ronan, that we're going to look at come October. As regards the substitutes as well, and just bear in mind, I'm going to tell you, the hurling fraternity are also starting to look at this sideline dissent as well, because it has radically changed the game and cleaned up the game as regards dissent from the sidelines, which is a big plus. No,
Jimmy,
no. You have to give the card first, and then Jimmy, you have to deal. You have to deal then with the foul. You have to give the card whether yellow or red.
Okay, so just really quickly, injuries. So this is something that kind of came in under the radar last year, and we've just kind of added it to our presentation just to give some clarity on it. So a major injury, a head injury or whatever the case may be, you may stop the play and allow treatment. You don't need to ask the player to leave the field. Now, I feel personally, if a player is injured in contact, as in it's a deliberate trip, you black card the opposition player. Player has a calf injury because he was injured in the contact, I would happily stop play, allow treatment, and not ask him to leave the field. If someone is getting treatment down the far corner and it's not interfering with play, I would let play go on. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Any injury, especially late in the game, goalkeepers always tend to get soft tissue injuries late in the game. If you don't feel that serious, then you can stop play and ask that player to remove, to go to the sideline for treatment, and then the player can come back on at midfield at the next break in play. So that's just very quick rock down to them. Maurice has created these signals for referees. So do you want to go through them, Maurice? I'll let you go through your creation.
Well, on these signals, we decided to tidy it up because you probably see where lads wave their hand to start the game. I just thought that it was ridiculous for the referees. So to make it a lot easier on the referee, start the game normal, throw the ball in. I don't know, Teresa, whether you do clock or hooters at your games.
No, they're probably not going to come in.
Probably not. Some states will have that availability, but they could be running 2 or 3 games simultaneous, so it likely won't work.
Okay, but just in the off chance that you do have, we'll say, a clock or a hooter working, it's just time off and then time on again. It's just fairly simple. For a 2-pointer, if the score is the 2 hands in the air, one hand in the air for a pint, obviously advantage doesn't change, the hand out. If there's a 3v3 breach structure, you're just putting your hand in front of you, and obviously the advance mark, that's the advantage as well. So nothing really major. We just tidied it up from the way it was at the start of the year, just to make it a little bit more user friendly for the referees, really. And it was myself, Joe McQuillan, and I think it was Conor Lane. The three of us put our heads together to try come up with something that was easy and that could be used for referees going forward. Okay.
Yeah. And again, we don't need to dig into this in too much detail because it probably won't come up, but the content is there and shared with Teresa. But again, no more than our club games here, we won't have a hooter. So we'll just rock on past that. Just with regards to foam, it's not necessarily with the foam. It's about the player taking the free from the wrong position, because you may or may not be using foam, which is fine. But if you are using foam to mark where a free is, or for example, the free is on a line, like the 20-meter line or the 2-point arc, etc. If a player takes a free from the wrong position, it is a hot ball. So if you give a free, 50-meter advantageous, team decide to bring it outside the 20-meter arc or the 40-meter arc for a 2-point shot, they step over that arc, fully over the arc. It is not a 1-point score, it is a hot ball. So just have that there for.
And just going back on that, we have been advising the referees just to, the only place they should really use the vanishing foam is from the 65 meter in. That's basically it.
Yeah, for sure. Again, this is just your own world game guidelines that Teresa shared with us. So again, you will be more versed in these than we are. Oh, actually, there's vanishing foam is going to be used at 15 and 13 aside. So there you go. So and potentially stop clock. So again, that will be different in different jurisdictions. But look, we walked through that. Happy to share that with you. And that's that there. Okay, Ronan just has a question. Please go to penalties for sure. So we'll go back. So actually, we are actually finished now. So we're going to open the floor to questions. So it's timely, Ronan, to ask that. So we'll go back to 4v3 for sure. So sorry, I'm absolutely smothered with that. I'm choked up here. I do sincerely apologise. And
don't do much talking. That's what's wrong.
Yeah. That has often been my problem. So with regards to the 4v3 or the 2v1. We'll just go back again over it, right? Again, 4 defensive players in the half and 3 attacking players in the half. Or goalkeeper plus 1 defender for the 2v1, and 1 attacking player. So just say if you're playing, you know, the 11 aside or whatever it is, or 13 aside, I think down is a 2v1. So that's fine. We're happy with the numbers. So each team must have 4 players or 2 players, which may include their goalkeeper in the defensive half, and 3 players, if 15 aside, or 1 player in their attacking half. That's fine. It doesn't matter if they're reducing numbers or a black or red card, whatever the case may be, they must adhere to the 4v3 or 2v1. So if a player is in possession of the ball, if, for example, this player here, number 2, in a 4v3, is in possession of the ball and carries the ball across the halfway line, because he has the ball, it is a free against him on the halfway line. If, for example, we'll call it the blue team are attacking, so right, it looks like the blue team are attacking. So say the red team have a kick out down here now, and the red team kick it out long, and the blue defensive player runs looking to take that ball. Because he's going to play the ball, it is a free on the halfway line if he crosses the halfway line. Now, if those 2 players cross it together and breach the 4v3, it is a throw-in. And then the main one is for any of these breaches where the player, you know, randomly wanders across on his own, not in play, but goes more than the 4 meters, you know, comes maybe across to 65 or whatever the case may be, but is not anywhere near the ball. Any of those breaches, it's a free on the 20-meter line. So again, if it's the player in blue who's the defender, crosses here randomly, not playing the ball or whatever, and goes more than 4 meters, Maurice after joining in there and getting me into feedback, you go and you give a free against that player on the 20-meter line, on their defensive 20-meter line. And the kicking team have the option to bring it back out for a 2-point shot on the 40-meter arc. Hopefully that makes sense, Ronan. And again, the content will be shared. If you have any questions, we'll share the email and we're happy to dig into it a bit more. If we spot a pair marking each other that have crossed the halfway line that broke the 4v3, do we penalise this with what? Yes, absolutely. So if 2 of them have crossed it together, but are more than the 4 meters, well, then it's a hot ball if 2 of them have.
Yeah.
No problem, Ronan. Hopefully that's explanatory. It is a tricky one. It is the most tricky one there.
There was a situation in the Monaghan Donegal game where 2 players had crossed the line at the same time.
Yeah.
And the referee had given the free to Donegal. Really and truly, he should have given a hot ball.
Yeah.
That's basically what I should have done.
Talk afterwards. I don't know if about 4 meters, but
should have come up last night.
Yeah, fair. So I suppose that was a really good. That normally our presentation is an hour, which it is, and the questions have been fantastic. But please ask any other question now if you have them. If there's something you feel we didn't dig into adequately enough, or obviously then through Teresa or through ourselves, we'll share our email there at the end. I'll put it back up here now. Please do ask, and
we're not afraid to answer questions.
For sure, we'll do our best to answer them anyways. On the white side,
and that basically the way we have done that presentation is it's really referee user friendly. That's basically really what we're looking at here. So to try and make it as easy as possible on the referee, so that when he does go out to referee the match and look at coaches and whatever, we'll also get a lot of information from that, to be fair, because we've really looked at trying to make it as easy and as simple as possible, because there has been a lot of changes from the 1st of January to now, and I dare say it, I'm hoping there won't be any more changes between now and we'll say Congress comes in October, but I don't think there will be, hopefully. But like, I'm not going to say, unless something major goes wrong over the next couple of weeks. But
but the reality of it is the vision over Christmas was that these were going to be tricky and challenging, but I think we've adapted pretty well to them. And from doing a lot of club games, seeing a lot of club games, referees have adapted. I would urge, you know, anyone involved with clubs or coaching or whatever, you know, try and give the referees some leeway, especially when they're starting off, because there's a lot to take in, a lot to get a handle on. But you know, I'm sure the referees that are on the call will. And as identified, any other questions that come up through our emails or through Teresa, please forward them on to us. And
we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure.